Kalen DeBoer is coming back for what is his. Last week, remember Antonio Coleman? He was committed to Alabama under Saban, but then flipped to the rival Auburn Tigers. Well, then Kalen DeBoer takes the job, and it took him about a month or so, but DeBoer got Coleman back on the Tide commit list, and DeBoer might not be done. There could be another major flip in the works. In this video, I got the GOAT Tim Watts with us. He's going to break it all down. But first, Alabama fans, I need you to do me a favor. Hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel because we talk Bama recruiting all year round. So you need to jump on board, hit subscribe. All right, let's bring on Tim Watts from Bama Online. Now, before we talk about the big flip that could be in the works, let's talk about the much-anticipated visit of five-star quarterback Julian Lewis. Now, we know he's going to hit a spring tour, going to see a bunch of schools throughout the country, but this weekend he was in Tuscaloosa. What are you hearing from your sources about this visit?
Yeah, all the feedback's been good. Chad Simmons, our own national analyst, got a good interview with him and got some feedback. Andrew Bone, who works with us at BamaOnline.com, was texting with him. All the feedback was really good. And to be clear, this is a guy that's pretty comfortable at the University of Alabama. He's visited off and on, over the years. So there's not a lot to learn as far as the city, the campus, and all that kind of stuff. To what he's coming to see is DeBoer's offense, right? Nick Sheridan, the play column, because that's the one thing that was most interesting to him. And he got a lot of that. He got a lot of discussion with Kalen DeBoer, a lot of discussion with Sheridan sitting down, and he got to see, the proofs in the pudding, exactly what they're going to be doing. The interesting angle for him, I think, is the fact that his former teammate, Caleb Odom, is on the team. And not only on the team, he's a true freshman, but he's shining. I mean, you hear a lot of people, veterans on the team, bragging about how well he's done. We know that Caleb loves the offense. So they've got that working in their favor because he can give them, like, the inside view and everything else. But he was there for 2 days, seemed to go really well. He got to see everybody in action and spend a lot of quality time with them, as a top quarterback will. So, yeah, I think it went exceptionally well.
Interesting. Now, earlier this week, before we get to the weekend, five-star wide receiver Caleb Cunningham out of the state of Mississippi was in Tuscaloosa on Wednesday. Now, there's been experts that have said Mississippi State is the team to beat for Cunningham, but he told you guys before he left that, quote, I don't want to leave. So did Bama do enough to shake things up in this recruitment?
I think they did enough to stay in the recruitment, right, to get there. And I think that was big for the whole Alabama staff because they worked all of February, which was pretty quiet as far as outside of offers, but it's pretty quiet as far as Alabama standards go when it comes to recruiting. But you could see they were laying the groundwork for what was going to come in March. And look, they put together, Courtney Morgan helped. Obviously, Kalen DeBoer and all these assistants are so active. Off the field personnel guys really get after it too. But they had over 100 guys come the first week. And I don't ever recall seeing that, when Nick Saban was running. Now, things have obviously changed with the official visits and all that, but having triple-figure visitors and big names, a lot of big names were on the Alabama campus. So, obviously, they did a really good job.
Yeah, it was a huge weekend. Bama Online, you guys did a great job of covering it. We're just going to touch on a few of the key names, but there is literally close to over 100 visitors if you take in 25, 26, and 27 class, and Bama Online has all the coverage. Now, let's get to this potential flip, and I'm talking about edge Javen Hilson out of the state of Florida. He was committed to Alabama. He flipped to FSU on January 16th. So in the aftermath of all the Nick Saban drama, he flips his commitment to FSU. But this weekend, he's back in Tuscaloosa and had something very interesting to say. Quote, after talking with Coach Robinson and how he told me he would use me, my recruitment is still open. This is coming from FSU commitment Javen Hilson. So is DeBoer about to flip him back the same way that he flipped Coleman back from Auburn?
I think that's the first step, again, getting him on campus. And Hilson's been he's been a different bird when it came to his recruitment. I think he committed on a random Friday night after a game, and we're all just minding our business, and he had committed. Wasn't even that big of a name, or we hadn't talked to him nearly as much as we would in the future. And then he didn't just decommit when Saban was gone. He flipped to FSU. So I do believe he's a guy that's you're going to be able to influence and sell him on what you're going to do with him. So I would agree his recruitment's still over, but a hard guy to pin down. But obviously a good first step, just get him back on campus, and they did a good job. Christian Robinson does a good job. Kids relate to him really well, I'm told. Kind of a younger coach, but one of those guys that comes off almost as a big brother or uncle type. Plus, he knows how to sell his program and his position.
Yeah, he almost sounded to me surprised that he enjoyed the Bama visit under DeBoer as much as he did. We'll see what happens. It seems like he might have made a little emotional decision flipping to FSU in the time that he did. Sounds like Alabama could get him back. Speaking of getting guys back, edge Zion Grady was back on campus, and he was another elite edge that decommitted from Alabama after Nick Saban retired. What are the chances of Bama getting him back now that he's been to campus?
Yeah, again, I mean, you looking at they're all kind of in the same boat because they're getting to know a brand new staff. Now, I will say with Zion, there is a connection with Freddie Roach, although he's kind of that edge outside linebacker position. Mm-hmm. Could end up either at outside linebacker at Alabama or edge again. But Freddie Roach knew who Zion was. They had some kind of relationship, especially just from the in-state angle. So that helps them there. I think they've got a better chance. I mean, Zion liked Alabama when he committed there. He wasn't a kid that just committed to Alabama because of Nick Saban. And of course, you had some of those guys that just wanted to play for what they considered the GOAT. But he is an in-state guy, and they're going to make inroads there, I think, rather easily. Auburn and other schools are certainly going to fight for him. So, again, this is almost like going on a first or second date when you're meeting this coaching staff. How do you like them? And based on the reviews we've gotten from other players, other prospects, other parents, and people close to the parents, they do a really good job of being personable and understanding how to recruit.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it was a really big weekend in Tuscaloosa, and this is just the first weekend out of the dead period. So the dead period kind of gave Kalen DeBoer and his staff a chance to get together, kind of find their footing on the recruiting trail. But, Tim, it seems like the Alabama staff is hitting their stride early coming out of the gates.
Yeah, I think there's been some impatience because you didn't know exactly what was going to happen and when. Mm-hmm. Again, February was quiet, but, I mean, it's the dead period. We were explaining on the roundtable, it's the dead period for a reason, but they were setting up everything that you've seen. And if you look at his body of work so far, if you go back, Ryan Williams, he was able to secure that commitment. I don't know if there was a bigger one that he'll ever have. It's, certainly in his first year, Ryan Williams was huge to get back in the fold or keep in the fold. And then you flash forward, he got the other transfers. But how about Keon Saab? He was a guy that probably could have went to anywhere, hit the portal, a guy that's got a high upside, a highly recruited guy. So they got him. They flipped Coleman, and this week, they're reaching out and getting other players and leading for other players that are making up a lot of ground. So I would say he's definitely, showing his chops because a lot of people, what was the question? Can he recruit in the South? And to me, I think it's either can you recruit or not. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't think it's either you know how to recruit or you don't know how to recruit. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. And so far, they're showing they certainly do. And Courtney Morgan plays a big part of that. The recurring staff that stayed over, keeping guy like Freddie Roach in the state, Robert Gillespie, who knows Florida so well, helped. But all these guys came with connections. We hear nothing but good things so far.
All right. Like I said, just the first weekend out of the dead period. Seems like Alabama, really successful weekend. You guys can go read more about it on BOL. Tim Watts from Bama Online, thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed that, go check out the hundreds of videos that we have on this channel, and also do me a favor, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel.